Are you ready for me to read the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dobby is no cheap whore. Haggard was thrilled. Dobby and he would have a 2-month anniversary tonight. He couldn't be more excited than he was now. Dobby walked up behind Hagrid, the halls spilling with children. He pulled at Hagrid's boot and almost tripped, but he didn't. Dobby batted his eyes up at Hagrid, and Hagrid looked down at Dobby with very nice eyes. "What are you doing, Dobby?" Hagrid said loudly. Dobby giggled. Dobby was wondering if Dob and Hagrid Sir's date night is still on. Hee hee, Tildy. Dobby said meekly. Hagrid smiled innocently, reaching down to grab Dobby's hand. Their hands were extraordinary sizes, so different from each other, but alike in spirit. Except Dobby was packing. Hagrid, however, was not. Hagrid spun around, both of them giggling like schoolgirls. Hagrid slammed Dobby against the wall and broke Dobby's neck.
Hagrid!
Hagrid, you were too
Not Hagrid. Haridi was not too worried, because this had happened only a billion times before. He could see blood dripping from Dobby's neck and the bone sticking out. He checked Dobby's heart rate and found that his heart was not beating. Hagrid sniffed, tears welling up in his eyes, but he was not going to cry, because this was his fault. So he sucked his tears back in, like when you suck a macaroni noodle down your throat. Hagrid picked up Dobby's delicate elf body and carried him to the hut. Hermione saw Dobby and Hagrid as she was walking to the library, and she checked Hagrid out because she'd always been attracted to big hairy people. Hagrid put his hand up in a stop kind of motion, and Hermione frowned, but stopped. Instead, she opened her mouth to talk in that annoying voice that sounded like a camel
подошел к зданию, но все входы
with a
заблокированы.
nasal blockage from eating jello. Hagrid smiled menacingly at Hermione because he knew she was attracted to him, and his big, very hairy beard, but he also wanted to stab her every time he saw her. She irrationally made him very angry. He wanted to put her in a very big blender and blend her alive, but he wouldn't because he was a kind person. "What's up, Hermione? Yo-yo?" Question mark. Hermione's eyes twinkled with delight as she pointed to Dobby. "Is he dead?" she said. Hagrid nodded glumly and then breathed in very loudly, and he walked away from Hermione because he hated her and needed to be alone with Dobby. They got to the hut, and he sat Dobby down at a romantic candlelight dinner. He went and grabbed a wedding dress and put it on Dobby's body. After they had finished eating a delicious meal prepared by himself, Hagrid took a box from his pocket. He looked at Dobby and then stood from his chair and kneeled down and opened the box. There was a very shiny, huge diamond ring that had magic pouring off of it, and he placed it gently on Dobby's finger and smiled. He said his vows, and they were married. Boom! Just like that.
That's what it says on the text, bro. Boom! Just like that! Exclamation mark.
Hagrid is going to eat a feast. He took a knife from the counter and stabbed Dobby. He stabbed him 5 times, and he could feel the knife sinking deeper and deeper into his porcelain skin. He could almost feel the body heat from the knife. Each time blood would drop from the point of the knife, the skin felt elastic. He tried to slice through, and it felt like a chicken breast, but it was very hard to do. He had to pull with all of his muscle and toned arms' strength. He sliced through layers of skin, and blood burst and covered Hagrid's face, and he licked his lips, savoring the sweet honey-like taste, with a raspberry undertone, too. It was like pie filling, except not as thick as pie filling. He hummed happily, and then saw Dobby's intestines spilling out, and he had a feast. And then when he was done with that, he took part in some necrophilia.
Hell yeah.
Dobby awoke after
This
his
was written by
smile
me, by the
because
way,
he
guys.
wasn't actually dead, which is pretty rad, if you ask me.
I'm not gonna ask you.
Pulling a little bit of a Harry on ya. That was what Hagrid thought, though. Dobby! What happened to Stalker? Did my shit crash?
No, I died. I'm reloading.
Okay.
Continue.
No, no, no! I'm stuck in a loading screen. I can't look at the thing.
No! No! You can't alt tab?
Hold on. No, it locks me. It won't let me alt tab.
No!
It's okay, guys.
Hold on. Hold on. I'll get out of this one way or another. I'll get out. Hold on. Ugh. I'll get out of this one way or another. I'll get out of this one way or another.
Dude, you're already loaded in.
No, it's 7%. I'll get out of this one way or another.
He's not on an SSD.
Nope. I'll get out of this one way or another. There we go.
Dude, I saw like a picture of like a chicken with like a cigarette and a gun, like a revolver, like pointed at his head, and he had like one eye closed and the other one was like crying. And he was like, sometimes things are not like clucked to be or something. Some things are not as clucked as they would seem. Or whatever.
Sounds
You're
like
about to be clucked.
That
if
sounds
you
like a
don't
life
shut
insurance
your
ad.
black ass lips. I'm continuing now,
Okay.
Darky.
Kyle, don't come over here.
But you don't want me to visit you in Memphrica now?
Don't come
Nope.
over here.
Alright, bro.
What
Alright, bro.
the fuck is this place? Alright, go on now.
Anyways. Dobby! You're alive! 11 exclamation points. Hagrid yelled very loudly. 2 periods, all caps.
He said that too.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hagrid yelled, period, very loudly, period, all caps. Dobby blushed and tucked his non-existent hair behind his ear, but not hair because he's bald, and he instead tucked his very flabby skin from his head behind his ear. Yeah, Dobby is alive, babe, Hagrid, sexy beast, sir. Quit laughing! You're gonna make me laugh.
Does it hurt when you laugh, dude? Why you like?
Dobby. No, I'm trying to read the story. I can't laugh.
Oh, okay, serious time.
Yeah. Dobby is alive, babe Hagrid, sexy beast, sir. Dobby replied cutely and winked, his intestines falling out of his little stomach in adorably and uniquely. They looked deeply into each other's eyes and then charged and kissed each other very hard. Even though Dobby was meant to die soon, they fucked, and they did it for 10 years because it kept him alive. Don't get me wrong though, they may fuck often, but Dobby is no cheap whore. He respects himself and has no STDs except for herpes. No! Don't make me laugh. I'm being serious. This is a serious story. This is a serious story.
Alright, calm down.
Yeah, you serious ass nigga.
Sound like I'm starting a chainsaw.
Hey, good serious
On the last
bad to
day.
serious ass niggas.
On the last day, Dobby knew he was going to die soon, and he told Hagrid that what he wanted for the last day. A threesome with himself, Hagrid, and a giant squid. Hagrid wasn't too happy with this. He wanted to be selfish and keep Dobby to himself on the special
I want
day.
monogamy.
But he knew it would make Dobby happy, so he did it. They got to the lake and undressed, even though there were some students nearby, and also Minerva was near too. For some reason, she was also eating a very juicy cantaloupe as well. Anyways, they got undressed, and the giant squid peeked some of its tentacles out of the
probably eating
watery and
cantaloupe.
sparkly water. It was slimy and gross, and it went up Dobby's thigh, bounding him in place like how Hagrid would bind Dobby with his own intestines that were falling out a little bit, but cutely. But as soon as it got mid-thigh, wrapping around him, he died, and he could not take the pleasure. Hagrid screamed and ran away, so much in despair and distress. He didn't even look back at Dobby. He walked back into his hut and saw Fang, who was slobbering everywhere. He looked deeply and passionately into Fang's eyes and then petted him on the head. "You're a good boy, Fang. Thank ye for sticking with me Durandis. Then he walked away from Fang into his top secret hideout with top secret safe. It was the size of Gringotis itself. He opened it and stepped inside. In the middle, there was a very beautiful, tall flower vase decorated with swirls and stars. He looked on the inside and saw a Mat 49 and 12 One Direction CDs. He took the CDs and played the music while he took the gun and marched into the castle.
Well, look at that body again.
He was looking for Harry,
That's
Harry
funny.
Potter, the stupid boy, not to be confused with the amazing Harry Styles that had kidnapped him after his mother sold him to One Direction. So his father was actually Harry Styles, and he used to carry him on his shoulders. Also, he died. He marched into the school, into Snape's classroom, because he knew Harry would be there. He took him out of the classroom, and Snape didn't even care, because he saw the gun and he also hated Harry. He knew Lily would be a little bit mad, though, so he tried saying no a little bit. Snape, I need Harry now! Snape darted his eyes between Harry and Hagrid, and reluctantly nodded. Then they heard gunshots a few seconds later. Hagrid had picked up Harry and threw him into the air, tears falling down his smooth, beautiful skin. Harry hit the ceiling and peeled off like a wet noodle, and when he was falling, Hagrid shot him a ton of times. Bullets flying straight through his lanky body. Blood wasn't even falling a little as Harry was falling, and then he hit the floor and there was a big splat. But he wasn't dead yet. He saw it. Hagrid saw this and frowned. Harry said, "Please, if you're going to do this, at least end me quickly." Hagrid shook his head but sexily. "No," he said with a gruff voice, "the reason my dear beloved Dobby is dead. You freed him, and that is why he's dead. Hagrid stalked off, his boots clicking the floor. Then he shot up the entire school. None of the students were spared. None of the teachers either. He also beat up Hermione really bad, stabbed her in the arms, and then shot her 12 times. Then he did actually transfigure a blender to be huge and blended her in it. In the end, the only thing that was not blended was her teeth, and she took them and stuck them in the gums that were missing teeth, and then he ate the rest, munching on them like popcorn.
Now you upgraded.
Then he went and killed all the house elves except Winky. He looked Winky straight in the eye, only a singular eye, because he had taken her left eye out 5 years ago as a prank. Winky stood up straight, and you could see her shaking from fear. She had always been scared of Hagrid since they were cousins. And then Hagrid curb stomped Winky. What? Set the kitchen on fire because the house elves were on account of the house being on fire. Then Dumbledore, who Hagrid forgot about, walked in. He was wondering why all the kids were dead and the teachers and the house elves were dead as well. And then he walked into the flames accidentally, and his skin melted off. And he accepted that he was going to die, so he opened his arms so a crying Hagrid could hug and cuddle like old times. They were also in a loving friends with benefits relationship at some point, and Hagrid fell into his arms and cried, and both their skin and bones fell off. And Hagrid knew this was the end, and he accepted it, closing his eyes forever, and they also lived happily ever after. The end.
That was beautiful.
What? I need to see the author's face.
That was beautiful.
It's not. It's on Archive of Our Own, and the account's deleted.
And the guy who made it fucking kill themselves probably they probably fucking blew their brains out. Right.
He's like, no, my masterpiece is complete. Now to join them.
He's like that nigga that wrote Confederacy of Dunces.
Yeah.
He like dropped that bitch and then like fucking hung himself. And then you read it and the book is shit.
You read it.
Dude,
It was
you
not.
need to.
It was not.
You need to read like another one of these, bro. That was so captivating.
I was so invested, dude. You should have heard it the first time.
He shot him. Yeah, I was laughing like a crazy bitch the first time, dude. I couldn't hold it in.
I was listening and watching and crying like it was the Titanic. Oh. Cal, don't go out. Don't go out. Emission! Emission!